Welcome to Crashing Game Night. My name is Matt Diorio. Tonight we are joined by the Rusty Rupees, Darren, Justin, Deontay, and Cam.
Yay!
We also have our Keystone Light drinking beanie guy over there in the corner, Gerard Pereira, is my co-host.
What is up, my fellow nerds? Today is an amazing day. We have Rusty Rupees, these awesome guests, and let's start hearing what they're about to say.
We've got Lion's Mane, Jason Belidio, as always.
How's it going, guys? How you doing today?
And then Babyface Theowalski over there.
Hey, I'll take Babyface this time.
Aww.
I mean, if you want me to, I'll go back to Dark Helmet again, Theo. If you really want me to.
I'll take Babyface, by all means.
I'll
I'll almost bet that I'm still the youngest one out of this group right now. Darren might have me, though.
Darren, my God.
He's 11 years
12.
old, sir.
Yeah.
Shut up.
He's 12.
They recently is 12.
But I mean, he's the Chihuahua, so it's dog years,
Listen, we're not making this
7
a
years.
thing. Making this a thing.
I hate to say it, it's already a thing, dude. So,
It's the only thing that allows him to keep up now,
You
age-wise.
hear his response. He's like,
So, to all our listeners, I wanted to bring these fellas on. I mean, Darren and I have been talking about doing this anyways. But in light of all the events in the U.S., I wanted to bring these guys on because they are one of the many all-black podcasts that are out there, but they're not highlighted enough. These guys are amazing to begin with. I definitely recommend everybody check them out, especially the episode they just recorded, which was very insightful. But it was actually lighthearted enough, especially when we're talking about the white guy trying to flex with a compound bow. So let's kind of get started. I mean, honestly, for the Rupees, it's been a big week. There's been some highs that came out of today with some big news and then there's been lows. So I mean, I want to give this floor to you guys. How are you guys dealing with this week?
This shit's been stressful. God, I'm mentally drained.
same here. My head hurts. Yeah, it's definitely been hard to focus on anything else. I think that episode that you're referring to definitely just came out of us going in like we were going to record a regular episode, I guess, on the day that we would usually record, but really deciding that we couldn't because we couldn't think about anything else. It's wrong to make an episode about anything else. And so, and we didn't even intend to really talk for that long. And it ended up being a really good discussion because even within ourselves, we have differences, you know what I mean? And so it was good to just have that open discussion. But shit's crazy, man.
Yeah, you can definitely hear a lot of varying opinions in the episode, but I think the consensus at the end was we all had the same consensus at the end. And I think that's what was great about the entire conversation is even though, you know, we all had a different mindset on what and how to improve, you know, the African American community. You know, it's difficult. You know, it's definitely difficult, but something we need to look forward to in the future.
And what was your consensus, if I may ask?
Yeah, listen
I
to the
felt
episode,
like-
man. Listen to the
Spoiler alert.
Plug.
That is true. I'm sorry. I'll listen to the episode.
No, but just to clarify, like I felt like the overall consensus, and the guys can correct me if I'm wrong, was that, you know, we need to become more bound as a community as a whole.
Come together and realize that what's happening now can't just be a moment in time right now. It needs to be something that's happening now and continues happening for change to stick instead of it being like, here's an isolated week or two where stuff is happening because people are being loud about it just so that we can remain silent again. It needs to be something that changes for the better and sticks for the future.
to ripple.
To go the
Not
way
so much-
of Coney.
Uh,
You remember that? The whole Joseph Coney thing for about like 1 week. Hashtags like in
We're gonna
t-shirts,
the whole
t-shirts,
night.
everything. And people were hardcore about this dude using children as soldiers. And then the next week, everybody forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I hope that doesn't happen. And I think
Are you waving hi to everybody? we got someone else crashing.
We have an additional guest.
Hey,
Hi.
An extra crasher.
This is my soon-to-be 3-year-old.
hey.
So what really happened here is that we crashed your game night, huh?
No, he
We are
usually-
sorry, young one.
He usually is just off chilling with mom and whatnot, but he had to come in and say hi and whatnot. So
Hey, no
I
problem.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
here. Oh,
Hey, we need all that love, man.
Oh yeah.
it is, and I think
That's
you know what
real
was,
love right there.
what's funny. Some of the videos I see, like there's that one circling of the little like 2-year-old white boy and then the 2-year-old black kid, right?
Yeah.
And they're just
they
running
run
and
up
best
and
friends
hug each
forever.
other.
And it's like,
Friends forever.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yo, did you guys see the one where
Yeah.
the father was asking his son about the 4
Mhm.
pictures, and the kid was like, oh, I don't see anything wrong with these
Oh
pictures.
yeah,
Like,
I saw
these
that
pictures
one.
are
He's
all
like, what do you see? He's like, oh, he's playing. He's like, okay,
he's
what about what do you
hugging.
know? It's about these two.
Uh-huh.
That one's eating
Yeah.
ice cream, and like
Mhm.
not pointing out any of the differences
Yeah.
that you would think someone would, and it
Mhm.
just goes to show like we weren't born
Yeah,
as race. People
yeah.
weren't born
No,
as
and
racist.
that-
That shit is learned.
it's inherited racism.
it is.
Yeah.
And that's one thing you guys brought up on that too. Is it's like it's ingrained in you.
Mhm.
You know, from your parents, their parents.
Yeah.
It's something that I have to deal with my.
It's so cute. I'm sorry. That
This is what I deal with on a
Hey,
daily basis.
Hey man, he's crashing game night, man.
Yeah.
Right? This is what it's all about. I mean, and that's the thing is like, you know, everybody's looking at it as like, oh my God, my followers, right? To me, I don't care. You know, it's like our podcast has always been built and predicated on supporting everybody, right? And we've had, you know, all walks of life on the podcast, and I will support and go back to every single one of them, just like with Darren. And that's like I reached out to him the second all this shit started hitting the fan. I reached out to Darren and said, "Hey, how are you holding up?
Yeah.
How are you doing?" And,
That kind of reminds me of the whole LeBron shut up and dribble thing. Like,
dude,
Yo.
I saw that today. I'm like, what the hell? Really?
That's-
Fox News? I mean, but it's Fox News. I mean,
Yeah. But against that Drew Brees comment, they were basically giving him a free pass. They were like, okay, well, it's okay for Drew Brees to have a political
that
stance and to
opinion,
voice
yeah.
his political stance, but as soon as LeBron has one, he needs to just shut up and dribble. And I think for me, that was the one thing that hit so home for me is that like right there, if no one, because shut up and dribble was so long ago, nobody might make that comparison. But once the
Honestly,
comparison is made, you'll see the blatant racism in it.
it felt Rosa Parks.
Yeah,
Go get in the back of the bus, right?
Yeah,
and it's like,
yeah.
so good.
I can't believe we have to have this conversation still.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
It goes to this thing about like black people only being valued if they're entertaining the quote unquote oppressor.
Mhm.
really, because I mean, you look at Katherine Johnson, right? We wouldn't have half our space program without her.
Yeah.
You know, she helped get us up into space.
Yeah.
And they'll recognize that to an extent, but that's not the
Yeah.
highlight of going to
Yeah.
space
Mhm.
ever.
Or
No,
even
it's
just,
not.
or even the
And
main
they'll see
story
her as
of
the
how we got
exception.
up to space. It's a snippet
Yeah.
at best.
Right.
I mean, if you
Yeah.
if you even know about it,
Yeah.
like you might not even know.
I mean, a lot of that I didn't know until I saw Hidden Figures, and then I started doing the research.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah. And sometimes
whatnot,
it takes media to
Mhm.
bring you in and
Yeah.
give us an idea, and not an idea, but like show us things that we weren't really looking at or taught in school, because I wasn't taught that in school. That's
I wasn't
information
either.
I had to go
Facts.
find myself.
Mhm.
And back to the topic of just racism being ingrained in people, I think it's important for people, and I think this is more like on a psychological level, to
Mhm.
take the steps to unlearn things that they were taught.
Mhm.
And beyond just racism, I'm finding people have an issue with unlearning things that they were taught or believed to their
Mhm.
core. to the point where challenging these things will garner a hostile response.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
A defensive to a hostile response,
Yes.
because they don't know any better.
Right.
It's funny you say that, because the sign that I was just holding up on Santa Clara Street in San Jose said "Unlearn the world." Right? I think that's what we all need to do, is unlearn all of this shit that's been taught to us by the world, and start over, man. I work in behavioral analysis, and one process that we go about is called extinction, right? And so it's removing removing reinforcement from a behavior that has been reinforced in the past, right? When you remove reinforcement from a behavior that's been continuously reinforced with these kids, what we tend to see is something called an extinction burst, right? Where shit gets uncomfortable, they don't like it, we see an increase in the behavior, like shit gets crazy for a while. And essentially that's what you were just saying, Deontay, is when you try and get people to unlearn something that they've learned for so long in their lives, like that's all they know, it's difficult, and they get uncomfortable about it. But you need to be uncomfortable, like you have to be uncomfortable if you want to change. Like change is not meant to be easy.
Yeah.
I think
It
that's
also goes
something
back
to be able to be achieved for, I mean, later generations, or do you need to snip it at the butt to stop having people teach that? Because that's ultimately, people have learned through their parents and grown up with that hate through their parents. So, I mean,
But I think it's in our schools too. Like,
yeah.
because the schools, they don't teach Black history, they teach U.S. history, but U.S. history only comes from like the viewpoint of a white person.
Right. And that, how does that cause Black kids to look at themselves?
Because think about it, we're taught about slavery. You know, they learn about slavery, but they don't learn about like
slavery.
Yeah,
No,
basically.
that's why I'm so thankful to have grown up in the Bay Area and like have the type of educators that I've had, because I've experienced the school system and I've experienced Black History Month in Oakland. I've experienced Black History Month in Vancouver, Washington. And those were two very different experiences. And what we learned about, honestly, I understand, I'll put quotes around understand, but I understand why some people come out of school not knowing the things that they should about Black history in that regard. To where me, with the teachers I had here in Oakland, they made sure to cover certain bases. Like Oakland went through a whole small school system thing back in the early 2000s. It's a long story. It kind of fucked up the city, but whatever. But I was blessed with educators who were also activists. So they made sure that we knew different things that
the guts of the story
being taught. And like specifically in my middle school, which was just built, it was built around the idea of teaching us and getting us ready for ideas that weren't going to be taught to us moving forward. It opened my eyes to a lot of things and the difference in how people are educated and how they hold values moving forward, you know. So I recently had to cut off one of my old childhood friends from Vancouver, Washington, who I shared classes with back then, you know, just because I saw how far we'd grown apart. And he never left. He never left the area. I came back home. He never left. And it was almost heartbreaking seeing some of the shit he was saying. This was before all of this protest stuff. This was like last year. But I finally had to sever that. But I just brought that up to say that education, and just building on what the other guys were saying, education plays a lot into it. And what we're willing to teach our people, our children in these schools, will form how they think and how they feel about people moving forward in life. So these areas where we have educators who aren't, I don't know how to put this in good words, so I just won't. Teachers who suck. We have a lot of places who suck.
Yeah.
A lot of fucking shitty racist teachers who are like, I even had a racist teacher in fucking Vancouver, Washington, and that wasn't cool. I had a racist teacher in Santa Clara, California. And
I had no idea you lived in all these places.
You
yeah,
said
I'm
it on the episode. Pay attention, Cam.
yeah.
Hey, Cam's too worried about making sure the kids he's babysitting are with him and not.
Yeah, he's being good, you know, good big brother.
But I, like to expand on that though, Dave, it's like, you know, once you go out to different places or once you see different parts of either the world, even the United States, you know, like you get a sense of like, oh man, like this isn't just like ABC, like there's
Right.
X, Y, and Z, and you have to take that in, you know. And sometimes I feel like a lot of people that just stay in the one zone, they don't really see like, oh hey, like what does a third world country look like, what does like the other side of the bridge look like, you know. And that also like expanding on your like the education, like it's educating like the person themselves, you know. Like I feel like a lot of people like, oh, I'm self-reflecting. Well, how are you self-reflecting if all you see is what you've just been seeing? You know, that that I feel is like one of the things that we also need to like start letting people know that, yeah, a big part of what I've been seeing with all the protests is, yeah, like this is part of the life, you know, like this is part of something that I personally don't know, and they're like sharing that out, and I'm like, oh man, you know. It was crazy because one time I was in Vegas, and over there they have um, the EHM, the Erotic Heritage Museum, and the one, like my friend didn't, oh yeah, you got to check it out because there's some interesting stuff there. But on top of it though, they had a wall, like an entire wall for all the survivors of like any abuse. And after reading through like 3 of them, you just like, you just get this chill because you know that they survived. And to
You know
tell
what? I think
their,
I went to that same thing.
yeah, to tell their story is just
yeah.
like for everybody and that's what like I feel is the best part right here, is because this is one story, but there are so many more that like we as 2020 or the 2020, I hate this year, but as
Cheers
2020,
Facts.
You guys had it
as
the perfect. You guys
2020
said it's
is just like,
perfect. It's
hey,
biblical. I mean, you guys were talking about it on the
you know?
on your guys' podcast. It's biblical. I mean, you got the plague, you got everything
Yeah,
else
yeah.
going on
end
with it.
times, dude.
Everything.
Well, and then there was a
Bro,
tremor
rides
up by Yellowstone too.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, I saw that. You know, it's weird when you get your news from memes, but the first I heard about that was I saw this meme and it was just showing the death radius, ash radius, you know,
Yeah.
light ash radius, and I was
So,
just labeled, oh yeah, we're fucked right here.
yeah, so that's Theo. He's in the we're screwed. He'd be buried in an ash cloud. So, you know, one of the things I think that we need, you know, as a society needs to change, right? And it's something that's been part of the movement is say their names, right? Because I think they're missed. And you know, I saw a post by a Twitter user, Batty Mamzelle, who was trying to figure out something to do for Breonna Taylor, and she wanted to do it for her birthday, which is tomorrow. I mean, we're recording this June 4th on Thursday, so she would have been 27 tomorrow.
27.
You know,
See, and that's because I just turned 27 last month. So it just shows you never know what could happen.
Yep.
Doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter what walk of life you are. It's
so I want to say first, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, to you too, but
Deontay's
happy
next.
birthday, sir.
Not
You know,
you.
so
By a month.
by a month. But also too is, the world got a kind of a early birthday present for her, in that the FBI is opening an investigation into her death.
Yes.
Now, granted, I know how you guys feel about that from the podcast today, is that you guys take that with the biggest grain of salt on the face of the planet, because
Of
it's an
course.
investigation. It's just like put them on desk leave, in the desk duty or whatever.
They
But-
technically investigated every single, black, black death by cop.
You see
they
investigated or
it,
alleged in every single headline. It's like,
Yeah.
but we see
Yep.
it. How is it alleged
Yes.
when we see what is happening? It's not. It's blatant.
I don't want people to accept just the investigation. Just keep
Mm.
pushing forward, because a lot of these times people get charged, but nothing comes of it. You know what I mean? So
Just believe if I shot someone and that shit was on camera, ain't no
Oh,
investigation.
facts. No, that's it. They immediately
That's
throw
it.
your
Case
ass in jail.
closed.
Case
Immediately.
closed.
Guilty.
Exactly.
What if you're?
They wouldn't
if
even.
throw
you're-
the book at him.
Bro, they
That's
wouldn't
it.
even take you in front of a judge. They just lock your ass up. They were just
Yeah.
like, submit it to evidence, and he's gone. That's it.
Yep.
That's it.
And then-
Done. Done
Open it
deal.
So we also got the news today that in the Ahmaud Arbery case, all 3 men are getting charged with all the charges.
Good.
We need all of that.
good.
And yep.
Because
and
honestly, man, and it really took them telling on themselves for anything to happen.
dude, I will say this: there was outrage anyways prior to the video coming out, but
Right.
honestly, I think that guy coming forward and saying, "Oh, I have a video of this," pretty much sealed the deal for him, because it's now on
He
video that
swallowed
he
his
was helping
chew.
them. You know.
Why
And
did,
then, of
why did he
course-
come forward with the video in the first
Because
place?
he
then?
thought it would justify his friends. He thought
Yeah,
what they
Oh.
did was right.
yeah.
Got you.
Because they were saying how he was breaking into this site and everything, but when you listen to the video, right, you can hear them saying racial slurs in it too, which I think that just sealed the investigation right there. They're like, nope, dude, this is totally racially motivated. All 3 of you guys are going down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but
Um,
but the scary thing, man, is that's how we feel every day walking down the street.
Mhm.
Like, that's one reason why I don't walk the streets. Like, if I'm not in my car, I'm staying at home.
And I think-
I am.
And I think the worst thing, that you guys brought it up is that, Cooper, she weaponized it.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that really brings it to the forefront is you look at, guy was just bird watching in Central Park.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at his resume. I mean, Ivy League educated,
Mhm.
and everything. And all he said was, "Hey, can you leash up your
Leash
dog?"
your dog. Yeah.
But people
That's
don't
it.
see that.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
see a black man.
Okay, and
but
what's
no.
worse is, go ahead,
Get over
Justin.
it.
Oh, but like, we have come at least a little bit. You have to acknowledge that at least a little bit, because trust me, if she would have done that, like what 50 years ago,
Oh, he would have been
Mhm.
dead.
like he
Oh,
would have been
done.
dead.
He would've been dead.
Like he would have been
Oh,
done.
yeah.
Like that would have been it.
Honestly, I think
But-
50 is going too far back.
Yeah,
I think
really? You think I'm
I
too
think
cold?
30.
I'm trying to give
30,
him. I'm
bro.
trying to give us. I'm trying to give
Nah,
us some-
bro. Let's be
You think
real.
the
Come on.
70s?
Mm.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you-
I think
5,
laws have
6.
changed, but do you
Radio
think
Raheem,
people's
bro.
do you think people's mindsets have changed that much, or has the law just changed so that it kind of pushes it into the shadows a little bit more, if you will?
I don't know, dude, because I mean, we've seen people take matters into their own hands already. So
Well,
I don't know if
actually,
it necessarily pushes it under, but
I kind of feel like maybe it has, because of so many new like on set cameras. I think they would take more steps to kind of be cautious, but yeah, I think they would probably do it in the shadows. Yeah,
So the thing about that is,
just furthermore not to get caught.
even though we
Mhm.
have a bunch of the only real weapon we have against the police, which is cameras, we all have
That's
recording
it.
devices
That's
in our
it.
pockets.
But
Um,
but there was that one. Wasn't there that footage of those cops harassing some protesters, and the cop got caught turning off his camera as he was moving towards
Yeah.
the protest.
That happens a lot. We have videos of cops like holding their books in front of their cans and stuff like that.
Dude, I was out at the protest and I saw cops that either didn't have the body camera on or they had a sticker covering the camera, the actual camera.
I've been seeing
part,
a lot of that lately. Just
really?
Oh, I got
I've seen
videos like
that.
that.
Yeah,
I saw one cop
riding
that had his pocket flipped up that was covering his name tag, like his badge number, things like that, like hella shady shit. And when
Man,
people
like-
tried to question them about it, they said nothing.
I think
yeah,
what
they've been seeing like they've been showing like in solidarity they have like the black strip, but I'm like seeing that on badges. I'm like, y'all are covering up your numbers.
I think what bothers me in the whole thing is like, right, I mean, the black community has been dealing with this for centuries, and it has been police brutality. I mean, Martin Luther King dealt with it. You know, Malcolm X, Black Panthers, all of them dealt with brutality. And that's, you know, why we had, I think to the argument is, you guys said both, you know, peaceful and rioting, kind of, I think they both need to be there, right? Just like President Obama said in his speech last night, which, man, I miss him.
Holy shit.
I mean, that was leveled. It was leveled, intelligent speaking that you could actually understand the sentences. But
how much
I
you
think
could miss a full sentence.
I'm sure all of you.
You know what
all
I
of you
thought
and
was
all
funny?
of us were dreading the final days of his office.
Yeah.
We knew.
Did you guys quick sidebar, did you guys hear or read Bush's response or Bush's statements?
no, I have not seen
So
those statements.
He said that George Floyd's death means it's time to I believe it means it's time to not lecture but listen. And I'm sitting here thinking,
Wait, Bush said that?
yeah, I'm sitting here thinking it's 2020. I'm reading a Bush quote and I'm thinking, I even miss him. What's going on?
I mean, because at least
Think
you
about
understood what he said. Like,
In recent years, it's like despite how shitty certain presidents in the past have been, Bush,
They've all been better than this guy.
they've
Yeah.
all been presidents. They
Where
might
do
be
we
shitty.
go from here? We can only
bro, we
go
can
right?
only go up.
I'm not
Like
gonna
we can
say
only
that.
go
We can
up.
only go
We can
Well,
only
we
go
know-
one way. Like we've hit ground
Yes.
bottom already.
The scary side of that coin, we've also opened the doors for other nutbags to try and go
Yeah.
and possibly win now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Bro, if Schwarzenegger tries for presidency, I'm leaving.
Oh God.
Schwarzenegger
I
even
mean-
put out a good message.
No,
the other
his
day.
He would be better though.
He would be
No,
better.
he'd be
He would
better,
legitimately
but
be
I
better.
still
But that whole
Just the
maid scandal
reputation of
killed
the
any
US.
politics situation for him.
Yeah.
yeah,
Remember, he has a legit adult son by the maid.
facts.
So,
I mean,
no, people they're gonna bury him.
Well, first of all, that is
The
a
only-
presidential move.
right? I was about to say that.
That is
Like,
a
yo,
presidential
you
move.
can't
You have to
like.
be in the office. You can't make that years before your term.
Oh no.
Right. That's true. Gotta be on it. But so I want to say, so you look at, we were talking about what police brutality, right? And you look at everything Cameron's seen, right? And what Darren, you've seen on video and stuff like that is the police are actually helping the case right now with all this brutality.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing stuff that is banned in theaters of war
Mhm.
on civilians. I mean, you look at what happened in Philadelphia where you had the protesters on the highway and the Philly police did a pincer move and they only could go up a hill and then there was a fence. They couldn't go anywhere and they just sat there and tear gassed them.
Yep.
You have the police firing tear gas, rubber bullets at media in areas that they say, go stand there. You have
Have been
Did you
see
videos
that
of
drive-by?
cops. Like I've seen one of cops. They knelt
Mhm.
and
I did see that one.
they knelt like seemingly in solidarity, and the protesters moved forward and started cheering. And when the protesters moved forward, they gassed the protesters.
Ah, gotcha, bitch.
Pretty much what happened. And I'm like,
Like,
Well,
side-
that's fucking dirty, dude.
Now, I do want to say this, though. There is some really good examples of what community policing and stuff. You look at what's going on in Flint, right?
Mm.
The sheriff literally put down his helmet and his baton
Mhm.
and said, we're here for you. How can I help you?
Yeah.
He
I
just,
saw that.
and then he let us, and they said, walk with us. He said, cool, let's go.
Yep.
You know, there are examples of of that. But then there's also the examples where they are that brutal. You look at, I mean, I think some of the worst stuff to come out of this, though, is you look at a peaceful protest in Lafayette Park by St. John's Church across from the White House.
Oh,
Nobody's bothering anybody. They're just chilling. They're doing their thing, sitting down, peacefully protesting, and they're gassed just for a photo op.
Yep.
Just so Trump can go pose with a Bible upside down, with an upside down Bible.
Hey, and did you see that the did you see the diocese actually came out and was like,
said,
nah.
He didn't even ask for permission to use the
pray.
church.
He didn't pray.
He's like, he doesn't
nothing.
come there. He doesn't practice
he
it.
literally stood in
He's
front of the church and
stunting.
did a photo op, right?
So when you guys see stuff like that, right? How does it make you feel?
North
When you see
Korean.
that these actions.
No joke.
Hey, he's not wrong though. Like I was actually
Because
watching
you know
something.
what? Not only perfect answer, but also look at the pose that he put. Totally on the nose.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
so
what's
a
funny
lot of
about that-
people.
Photo op.
I saw a post that somebody said that, you know, hid in a bunker, gas their citizens. Hussein and Trump.
Facts.
I mean, and Assad. Sorry. And, you know, I mean, you're looking at some of the biggest, essentially,
Tomato,
dictators.
tomato. You know.
You know,
Dictator.
Yeah.
you know.
I mean,
dictator
you know,
tip.
they're saying right now that you know, a lot of the things that we're experiencing right now, it's just, you know, it's unjust, and it's been like you said, it's been this way for centuries. You know, except it just wasn't, like, a lot of these things weren't caught on tape. But you know, we don't know how many black men are in jail because of planted drugs. Like, we don't know how many you know, black men have lost their lives purely because you remember the police, when they initially wrote the police report on George Floyd, it was vastly different from what they actually had
So
on
was
camera.
the autopsy.
Yeah. Like, and so blue covers blue, right? Like, blue's gonna cover blue always, you know. So that's why in our message, like we said, we want black to cover black.
So
like,
when we look at the positives that have come out, right? So how does it make you feel that when you see like Ella Jones being elected as the first black woman mayor of Ferguson, which we all know, I mean, Michael Brown, I mean, is what started a lot of the Black Lives Matter movement. How does it make you guys feel when you see that Ferguson has elected?
Oh, I love it, man.
Black woman.
And it feels good. You know,
I love it.
I haven't really looked too much into her policy or whatever, but I think it just means that certain events are opening people's eyes. You know, as sad as these events are, it's kind of like what George Floyd's daughter said in that video. Like, her daddy changed the world.
Yeah. And
I don't want to use the term martyrs, but in a sense, they kind of have been. And these moments have been harbingers of change.
At the end of it, as many lives that have been lost or like counted for and or otherwise, sometimes it takes that one to spark something.
Like I said in the podcast, the episode we did, I've seen so many videos of police killing black people or just people of color, just people in general. I've seen so many videos of police killing people, but specifically black people, that when I saw the video of George Floyd, I was certain nothing would come of it.
Facts.
Just because in my mind, it was another day. And I touched on the fact that my grandmother, this was part of that police talk we had, where when I was young, she sat me down and basically gave me this big talk. And we had this talk a few times. It's like, I can't let you play with toy guns on the street at all, because even if it's highlighter yellow, they will shoot you. You were
That made me sad hearing that.
Wow.
When you were telling that story.
Facts, though.
It's sad that you guys, as a culture, have to hear that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like Jason said, I will never understand what that what that
Yeah.
conversation is. I mean, because honestly, if I see blue and red lights flashing behind me, I'm going to be like, okay, what speeding, what speeding ticket am I getting?
If I see blue and red lights behind me, my cheeks clench.
Bro, like
Every time.
All the way. Pucker.
I'm not gonna say it.
Full pucker.
I will say this, so
Thank
this
you,
has...
Beyonce, for saying it for me.
It's a thing, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's because there's so many stories, and it's not just that there's so many stories. We are so used to them getting away with it. Like, just here in Oakland, just in the streets, the names of dirty cops are spread. The faces of dirty cops are spread. So we can call dirty cops by names and face. There's cops who I won't name on this podcast who have a history of, oh no, he won't chase you, he'll just shoot you. That's his thing. And he's known for like shooting one of the guys when he was trying to hop a fence. I'm pretty sure that's kind of against the law.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah. Jerry, what were you gonna say?
Nothing happened.
No, go ahead. It's fine.
No, that was good. You can go.
You know what? You know what we need, man? We need an Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil.
Do you guys remember when it was a Fresh Prince episode and Will got pulled over and got brought to jail?
Yep.
And Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv came down, and Aunt Viv toward the cop a new one, and the cop was like, "Who are you?" And Uncle Phil was like, "Ah,
Philip
They
Carlton was
touched
with him
on
in
that.
yeah, Carlton, yeah, William Carlton, yeah."
That's right.
They
Oh,
touched
that's
on
right.
that in,
He literally confessed to the cop technically.
Yeah,
I
because he
remember
was
that.
scared of the cop. He was
Yeah.
scared of the cop, man. Like, so he confessed to everything, even though he didn't do anything.
Yeah, and then Will was like, Will called everything. He was going to ask you to get out of the car. I remember that episode.
Yeah,
yeah.
and
They
and
kind
that's
of
what I'm saying.
touched on
We
the
need an
subject
Uncle
in
Phil.
Family Matters as well. I don't know if you guys remember that, where which was even more.
Oh yeah, because the dad was a cop.
He was a
I
The
remember
cop.
that.
dad himself was a cop. He was
When the
he was
son got
a
pulled over?
captain. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the one thing that bothered me about that scene was the rare situation where we had a Black person who was in a position of power to speak and be effective, whereas we don't really have that every day. You know what I mean?
Bro, we don't have that any day. Like
Right,
remember,
we don't
this-
have
all this shit was on sitcoms, dog.
we
Like,
don't have
don't
a
have
Carl
that.
Winslow dad, and that's why
No.
like there's a handful of police officers who've been, of course there have been tons who've condemned the acts of what happened in the video, but there have been a handful who've been touching on the idea of reform. Hell, there have been some who've just downright taken off their badges, but
you're gonna have
reform is something we do need.
You got a bill coming down Monday. It was announced. Well, okay, so we know it's going to pass the House.
Yeah.
But being the fact that they're, already circling the wagons and whatnot, I don't see it going past the Senate at all. But I will say so. This whole situation has been kind of like a catalyst for the world, though.
Yeah.
When you see Toronto, Berlin, the Netherlands, Italy, France, I mean, so many places are protesting with us
Shoot, Japan
and
even
for
going
this.
down.
And Cameron, I got to ask you, because one of those sites was London. How'd you feel seeing London standing up with us, especially like you guys were talking about John Boyega, who basically gave the middle finger to Hollywood and said, hey, regardless of what my career is, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stand up and do what's right. So Cameron, how did it feel seeing England standing up?
I think it was good. It's good to see England taking some ownership, because even though we're so far away, right? These ideals that this country was based upon essentially fucking started in England. When we really think about it, it's colonialist mindset. England, the colonists moved and created this mindset. It all stemmed fucking from there. And so it's about time that England actually owned up and started taking some responsibility for shit. And also the British police department is not innocent in all of this, right? There are also incidents that happen in England. They're not as global because England is not as big as America, and so things don't make the worldwide news, but there are incidents that happen in England, and the protesters out there are also, as well as protesting and marching for George Floyd, they're marching for the martyrs that have gone down in England by police as well. And so yeah, it was good to see. I have a lot of friends that have joined the movement. It's been good. Definitely a good thing to see.
Now, we all cover gaming. That's kind of how we've all met. That's how I met Darren.
That's what brings us together, man.
That's what brings us together. So when you look at 2K has donated $1 million to the Black Lives Matter fund. You've got Square Enix is donating $250,000, and they're matching all employee donations, which that could be exponential depending on how much they've actually donated.
Square can put over however much. I've given them a lot of money. Damn it, just do it.
But then you see Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo have a similar kind of cut and paste response that says, "Hey, we stand with you."
So
I'll give Microsoft a little more credit because Microsoft for a week has been posting.
Yep.
Yeah, they've been amplifying Black voices, at least. I don't know what they've done on the donation front, but they've been posting some pretty great articles by Black writers. I want to say at least once a day.
It's every day.
Yeah.
It's been there at least once a day, yeah. But how do you feel when Sony and all them have kind of taken that, their global response outside of Microsoft, making things real, but they kind of take that same cookie cutter.
Yeah.
So how I see it first the Sony post regarding the thing we were supposed to get today, the PS5,
which is why I wanted you guys on here so we could kind of talk about this and we can get some lighthearted. Let's talk some PS5.
That was the glimmer to the light in the darkness, but their message was very well written. That was a good way of putting it, where it's just you know what? As much as I really wanted this, that's fine. And ooh boy, the comment section on that was wild.
And that's a big stance, that in and of itself for such of a huge announcement for them. And then to make that announcement that actually we're not going to do it in order to stand in solidarity with Black people. I thought that in and of itself was a pretty big message.
That's why I appreciate it. I appreciate taking a stance and drawing that line in the sand, because they know who their fan base is.
Yeah.
They know who their fan base is. Let's keep it real. It's the same reason why WWE hasn't officially said Black Lives Matter as a company yet. They know who their fan base is.
But as far as the cookie cutter responses, though,
damn, yeah,
It's going to be in the worst position.
Yeah, right. So just taking that step, I can appreciate that much. And but also on the other side of it, it's a timing thing. So did you say this at a point where you knew you were risking taking a hit if you didn't say anything?
That's what I was actually about to say. That's what I was actually about to say.
Saying it when everybody else was saying it. So you're not the one. Yeah.
Because they would have called him on it.
Still.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
man,
slowly coming.
All these big companies would have been called out if they didn't make a response. So now you have to ask yourself, how many of these companies made that response purely
for that?
So that they
my goodness. When Infinity Ward made their statement and saying that they were gonna so I've never been called the N-word on any game more than Call of Duty.
Facts. Facts. Actually, Call of Duty and Overwatch is actually pretty toxic too.
And
Overwatch
I saw their statement.
successful,
They're like, we're gonna double down on banning racist names. I was like, so you weren't already banning racist names? Okay. But the only thing I could do is tag Rockstar and be like, all right, your turn.
And then they came out today and they shut down servers, which is all right. Yeah. But how I see it, with these with a lot of these are copy and paste ass messages, and what I like to call it, is that every exec in these companies have a special keyboard called the diversity keyboard.
The diversity.
And
Oh man.
this is the time. And this week they hit the black button.
Hit the black key.
They have the black
Darren,
button.
I hate you.
And-
Now I'm never gonna not see that now.
And so-
the diversity keyboard.
They have a diversity
pretty
keyboard.
good.
And here's the thing. This week it is Pride Month. So now there's also somewhere in the offices where it's just like, all right, the button's been hit. And then there's somebody out there be like, sir, you know it's Pride Month as well. And they're just like, I just pushed one button. Okay, you gotta give me time. You gotta give me time to spread the
What? I
message.
gotta push another one?
Exactly.
Really?
That's how I see it. Like there's
Right.
some messages that have come out.
Let's not.
Didn't
there's
Sega push Pride before
one
they
at a
pushed?
time.
I think so. And like there's
They
been
did,
some
right?
exceptions.
They did
They-
the Pride thing
they-
first.
Little, like micro Game Gear announcement.
Which, by the way, what the fuck?
Yeah, for real. I was
So-
an avid Game Gear fan as a kid, and that
This
micro
was
Game
the
Gear
Sega
not
news
something I
that we
was
had
thinking about.
coming. Is that shit?
We were making
Yeah.
jokes that it was a new console. We
Hey,
didn't
didn't
think that
we?
it was
Hey,
gonna
we
be
hey,
we
we
did make
oracled
that
the hell
joke.
out of that shit.
And I
No,
kind of
thank
wish
you.
we didn't, because I feel like we spoke that shit into fruition.
We did.
Think
It's
about
just not
Justin.
what we wanted.
Justin gonna push a button, that whole thing's gonna fucking crumble.
I couldn't do the Game Gear after I bought the Nomad. The money on batteries. The
Was
money
like-
on batteries.
You had the
alone.
Nomad? No fucking way.
Oh yeah, that's what like you can ask the boys. That's why I've never really been a big handheld guy. I've had like maybe the first iteration of the 3DS and maybe a 3DS XL for maybe a month.
Damn.
I couldn't trust handhelds for.
Mine kept getting
It's like-
stolen, dude. I had
feel
like
4
it's gonna get out of
different
power.
Game Boy Advances.
Yeah,
He at least has the Switch,
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
and he
But it's
routinely
always
loses, and he routinely loses at Monopoly to Jason.
Oh.
Oh, I don't. Hey, we're not getting into Monopoly.
Justin,
stories, Deontay.
Justin.
We're
Oh,
not
Bro,
having
we
that.
need to have a
Having
joint
this.
Monopoly game. That
We
would
do
be
need.
Oh,
That would be
dude.
fun.
Oh,
That would be
Monopoly.
fun. I join that, and then
That'd be
Deontay
toxic
can
as
now
fuck.
help me instead of kill me.
There's a whole story about me tanking our first Monopoly game,
Oh
and
God, I was so mad.
and Justin leaving.
I was so mad.
Justin didn't talk to us for a full like
24 hours.
Straight up.
It was longer than that actually, but he said
Was it?
24
Was it
hours.
like
It was.
36?
You were
Like,
salty for like.
Bro, I was
few
so
days.
I was salty, bro. Like, because
Oh,
I
yeah.
take games
You
very
lose
seriously.
friends.
I'm a competitive fighting gamer, so I take games very seriously. He
So-
fucked me. Like,
me and my
can we say
family just started playing Monopoly like 4 years ago. Like we dusted it off, said like, is everybody cool now? Like, okay, yeah.
It's like, hey, it's like Jumanji. It's like Jumanji. Like you fucking hide it away and
No
then.
joke. It's-
Right.
you hear that
There's the
shit bumping in
drums.
the attic like
yeah, like
Yeah.
no joke. Like it pissed off.
Who got the
pissed off
thumble?
the
Who got
siblings. And we're like, dude, we gotta put it away.
Oh man.
Like literally 4 years later, we're like, are we good? Like, yeah, we can
Bro,
open it back up.
hey,
Yeah, like.
but the funny
as-
thing is, before we played that game, we said that Monopoly ends friendships. Like we were like,
Oh,
yeah, this game
absolutely
ends
it does.
friendships.
list of things. It's like
Yeah.
Monopoly, Mario Kart.
Shoots and ladders.
Mario Party.
Mario
Mario
Kart
Party.
does
Mario
end
Kart.
friendships.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It can potentially end marriages too.
Oh shit.
It's because you and your wife with that blue
Yeah.
shell are insane.
Oh
Yeah,
my
and-
goodness.
Bro,
friendly
I
fire
actually
on
have a
top.
blue
You
shell
see
back
it in the
here.
background.
So
Yeah.
here's the thing is, you step into our house for Mario Kart, it's not like some kiddie game. It's where you send your kids to get a lesson on how to cry when they lose.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Are you ready
So-
for your first
Yeah.
rifle as a kid? Watch
Oh.
this.
Darren
So
and
we
I-
had
Blue shell.
my buddy James, who actually married us out in Colorado, right? His wife and his daughter-in-law, they came over, and his daughter's like, "Oh yeah, I'm the greatest at Mario Kart," and James just is terrible at Mario Kart. He admits it; he's terrible. So they're like, "You guys need to teach her a lesson in how to lose." And we're like, "You serious with this? Because it's all out warfare. It doesn't matter, you know." And
It's
it
true.
was a beatdown.
You about
It
to
was
crush
like we had an
yourself.
episode where we called it the Mario Kart Dojo. it's that bad.
Bro,
So-
you crushed her dream. She thought of being a Mario Kart pro player,
Oh,
and she was just like done. Like y'all destroyed it. Like,
me teach
Like
you
going
how big the
online
world
for the
is.
first
let me
time
teach you
for
what
fighting
real
out.
Mario Kart is like.
That doesn't sound horrible at all. Crushing a 12-year-old's dream.
Yeah,
That's how
right.
you do it. You have to start.
Like,
You have
so
to
you want me to take down your daughter right
I'm
now?
going to Pokemon.
Bro,
I had to
hey,
do that
he
before.
Leonidas that shit.
I've
so
taken it
bad.
to strangers.
And it wasn't even.
Is Mario Kart. Ah!
Yes, pretty much.
It's like
So I do
telling
wanna ask
Midoriya
you-
that he'll never have a quirk.
So I gotta ask
You're
you-
an asshole.
Wow.
You're shit, Cameron. Leave him
Prince ever,
alone.
though.
Oh, real shit, man.
Sad eyes, sad eyes.
Oh my
So I
goodness.
gotta
But
ask you
smiling at the
guys.
same time.
Right?
For real.
I do want to ask you guys one
fucking
thing
scene.
before we kind of move on to like some of the gaming news and actually kind of the lightheartedness is that Drew Brees' statement.
My
We
God.
talked about it kind of earlier, and I do want to touch on this because the NFL is kind of ingrained into America as the number one sport, even though baseball's kind of the
It's
pastime.
shitty. Yes.
It is how did you guys take him saying that and then kind of trying to walk back those statements today after he got just
Oh, he tried to walk
wrecked?
them
Yeah,
back.
he-
I
apologize,
avoided the
bro.
Drew Brees
He
statement.
tried to apologize.
Can you inform me on what Drew Brees said exactly?
So
He pretty much said. He pretty much said that.
Wait, so give him the question. So give
Who
him the
is
question
Drew
first.
Brees?
So Drew
The British guy says.
Like that's important to clarify. Who is this person?
He
he's
plays the
quarterback for
foosball.
Yeah,
The
he's
American football.
American
Oh.
football quarterback for the
Got you.
Saints.
Got you.
Which yesterday he kind of basically the broad high level is he said that nobody should kneel for the flag, that everybody should stand for it. It's a disrespect. It's disrespecting the military, our forefathers, and who fought for it.
he brought his dad into his
father,
his dad and his grandfather.
Father,
the
yeah,
World Wars and
Grand-
everything.
World War and everything. And I was like, dude, really? You don't get it.
First of all, when he's talking about his grandfather, what was his occupation as a grandfather during that time? I'm just saying.
He would, yeah, he was over
I mean,
fighting the World War.
that's what he's also defending
Yeah.
too, right? Like, yeah, that's what happens when you don't think about what you're saying.
Yep. And then he tried walking it back today after he got lit, including
Yeah, he got destroyed.
Yeah, I've seen
Including
some
the
of the responses from his
protesters.
teammates.
including the protesters saying "F Drew Brees" and chanting it
Oh,
as they're walking along. So, I mean, how do you guys think, like, when some of the most prominent sports figures out there, like a Drew Brees, or even like if a Tom Brady was supposed to say it, but when they come out and they say, well, they should never kneel before the flag, they don't, and it comes off as tone deaf. How do you guys look at that? How do you guys feel
I
when
mean,
you hear
to
that?
me, it's crazy because it's like, okay, so you don't want people to riot, you don't want people to loot. Okay, you don't want people to peacefully protest. You don't want people to kneel. Pretty much what you're saying is you just don't want people to say shit. Just
Yeah.
like go along
That's
with
what it
everything.
is.
Just
That's
be
how I
yes
take
men.
it.
Nod your
Just-
head and fucking
yeah.
take it.
Just take it.
Right.
No-
That's what
no
it basically
lube, no
boils
rubbing, no
down
nothing,
to.
just
Is
take it.
because this conversation makes people like Drew Brees uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And
So he stuck with the only thing he knew.
well, people we come to a situation where it's like my rights aren't
Mhm.
on par with your comfort. You know what I mean? And in that sense, it's hard not to take something like that personal. I guess sometimes I like think about it a little too much, I guess, and I could be wrong. But that's how I perceive it in those moments. Like we're literally fighting for our lives right now. And in no form, in no way are you willing to accept our ways to fight. That's why it's gotten to this point. It's because, kneeling hasn't worked, marching hasn't worked, protesting, shouting hasn't worked, letting celebrities do, speech campaigns for us hasn't worked. And it took people burning shit for people to start listening, unfortunately. But we're here now. Ears are open. And This is just another person who doesn't want to listen. So he can throw a ball really well, but that doesn't make him any different from the same asshole on Facebook or Twitter who's saying the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think what bothers me more about that is the fact is he helped recover some of the poorest parts of New Orleans
Mm-hmm.
and bringing that back up. And he was such a, I guess, that beacon of hope for a lot of New Orleans, and then he turns around and does this.
I think you can
This
you
goes-
can have good intentions, but still be say some shitty things.
Bro,
and have
goes
shitty
even
beliefs.
even slave masters fed you.
This goes damn. This goes into what I call it like that player one mentality, or the default player mentality. We live in a place where the default player is the white male figure, right? To where in any situation where we differ from that, that is a variant. You know what I mean? That is the other. And in that sense, the focus wasn't on the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you start up the game, we see, you know, default character, and in order to make him black, Asian, or anything, you have to manually change something.
Yeah.
That's the mentality we have as a country.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And not really knowing, I didn't know about the Drew Brees statements, but after seeing them and hearing them from you, my first reaction was that it came out very naive,
Mm-hmm.
which in addition to not really, I guess, not taking a stance, but really, would you agree?
Yeah.
Or more on the other side?
The thing is, he took a stance. He did. Like,
Yeah.
he didn't blatantly say it, but he took a stance on,
That's
I don't
right.
support what you guys are doing.
It was
At
the
this
only
point,
but
he's
it's the
not,
only
like,
stance he knows though.
This far into it, I would have given him the naive thing 2 months ago, or even a month ago. But this far into it, and this far into this discussion, to not recognize the world around you and what's actually happening, that is willful ignorance.
Facts.
That's
Okay.
willful ignorance.
No, I mean he definitely knows what he's doing. But the thing is, they forced him to take a stance, and he went to his default.
He played
He went to his
what he
faith.
thought,
He went
you
to he went to what his family taught him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he defaulted to. He defaulted to how he was taught, and how he was taught was you have to basically love the flag through and through. Like there's no
And that's
compromising.
that's like a military
Mhm.
family too. It's like it is ingrained coming down through the generations.
That's what I'm saying. So when he was asked that question, he automatically went to what he knows. He doesn't know what it's like to be black. So he should not have been able to answer that, he should not have been asked that question. He does not know what it's like to be black in America.
And I think that goes to what you guys were talking about, is the trap. That media trap you guys were talking about on the podcast is like, you know, there are some stations that go one way, some that go another, and then there's some that are kind of like down the middle, you know, not really biased. But I think, you know, it was that trap. He was put in a no-win situation with that comment. Yeah. I mean, honestly, even though he said, in my opinion, the opinion doesn't make it better.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think he was in a no-win.
You have to acknowledge.
I don't think he was in a no-win.
No, there's a way he could have handled that way better. But I think having to acknowledge that you have a platform and your opinion echoes onto all of your fans, and some of your fans form their opinions based on your opinion. So I often get bothered by people hiding behind that word. You know, and sometimes people use that to spill the nastiest sentiments and just retreat and say, well, this is just my opinion.
In my opinion, you're a
But
thug.
your opinion affects others, especially when you have that type of platform. It's like, you know,
I'm very
At the same time,
curious.
I'm glad
on,
he didn't lie. I'm
yeah.
glad he like.
I'm glad
spoke-
he didn't lie.
I'm glad
He
he
wasn't
spoke his
fake
truth.
about it. He wasn't fake. Yeah.
Facts, yeah.
But now,
It's like
because he
it-
was real, let's see once the season starts back up.
Oh no, he's done. No, trust,
Let's
he
see.
has never.
I mean,
he
I
has
don't know
never-
if you guys. I know the rest of the rupees aren't big on wrestling and shit, but it's
Dude.
basically come to light.
Here it is, wrestling episode.
Yeah.
It's always going to loop back around.
It's always going to loop back around. It's come to
You know
light
what?
just the fact that the entire Hogan family is garbage.
Oh, they've been garbage for a
Right,
long
I
time.
been
mean,
garbage.
yeah,
Like,
they've been
so,
garbage since I
like,
was a kid. Like,
Hulk
they were
Hogan is
garbage.
closet racist.
I thought
Linda
I thought
Hogan
that,
is blatantly racist.
I thought that that reality TV show did nothing for them.
No.
So it made it
It's made
worse.
them look like trash. Like,
Yeah,
made them look like
it
trash
made
with
them
money.
worse.
And the
It
creepy
got worse.
like the creepy relationship he had with the daughter, and like he had to know where she was at all freaking time.
Yeah, that's true.
Bugging her car, like
Yeah, that was.
yeah,
weird.
it was. Yeah,
We looking at you, Ti.
Deontay, I think you said it perfect on the podcast about our certain leadership, and it's the worst cut promo
Yes.
ever.
Yes. The worst cut promo ever. Speaking of
so-
that, if you guys seen the statement or the video The Rock put out, it's about like 8
It's
minutes long.
so good.
I haven't
Oh
seen
my
it.
God.
I haven't
He
watched it
literally
either.
starts off with, "Where are you? Where is our leader?" And like he repeats that same sentence several times throughout the video. He doesn't mention the president. He doesn't mention
Nope.
name. He just says, "Where is our leader? Here's what a leader needs to do. Here's the voice that he needs to be." Pretty much just like a leader needs to rise up and take accountability for the people, to show the people, "I'm here for you. I'm here to help. I hear you. You're not
need another
alone.
nip, man.
You're not silent. Your voices aren't going anywhere. I hear you. I'm here for you." And like, it was powerful. Like, it was an 8 minute, like a lot of it felt repeated, but it was a clear, concise message of like, "See, Rock, you know what? Thank you. Thank the hell out of you, sir, because that was it was a very good message."
It was The Rock being The Rock.
It was The Rock being The Rock, and it's crazy how within the past 24 hours we've
He's
gotten
still the people's
statements from
champ.
all these different people, including our former president, that's like, "Man, look how people can actually speak
Yeah,
and have a message.
I mean,
And you can understand
I
it."
mean, the man's Twitter is even broken. Like, if you actually read his Twitter, he doesn't speak in complete sentences on Twitter. Like, so how do you expect him? And that's when
it's like he
has
just-
time to
It's
look
bad
and
fire
write
and
shit.
fury.
Just throws his phone at the wall and fucking hits
Like,
enter.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, whatever
So
happens, happens.
and
So
he'll
do you
still
wanna-
say it was a masterful tweet.
Yeah.
Right.
Tweets, the best ever.
So do you want to cover a couple of
China.
news things, and we can actually talk a little PS5 here in a second. First, since they've decided to start rebooting everything from the 80s, Labyrinth is getting a sequel.
Wait,
Huh?
what is?
Labyrinth is
Labyrinth?
getting a sequel.
No shit.
Yeah, I heard that.
Scott Derrickson, who was supposed to direct Doctor Strange 2, who left for creative differences, he's going to direct, and Maggie Levine, who did Into Dark and My Valentine, is set to pen the script. And
Okay.
the Jim Henson Company is fully on board,
Huh.
100%.
That'd be good.
Better
Is
about
this a
it.
generational like?
See, I'm
But here's
all
the thing,
for
I
Is it
I still
all
don't know
for
how I
late
feel about that,
sequels
man.
and remakes, dude. Just as long as they're done well and with respect.
2020 is weird.
Like,
Is it
I
Labyrinth
would've-
without Bowie?
Yeah.
it just has to be done with great respect to Bowie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a weird
I
fucking
actually,
movie.
my roommate's a big Bowie fan. He loves Labyrinth, and he heard about this too. I told him about the sequel, and we got into this like kind of debate on who would cast as Bowie best. My suggestion was Gaga.
You're not wrong.
Ooh, you're not
You're not
wrong.
wrong.
See that? Yeah,
I am
can
not
see
even
that.
mad.
You're not wrong.
Not
I
even.
saw one that said Tilda Swinton.
Also not bad.
Not
Right.
bad. I wouldn't argue with that
Also
either.
not bad too. If you wanted to go like recast, like kind of reimagining the Bowie character,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
So,
you guys should see one of my Hwarangs in Tekken.
What?
Yeah,
Oh, that was
I
that
did
way.
the whole Ye Stardust David Bowie thing with
Stardust.
Hwarang.
Yeah,
Oh, no way.
Face paint, he's got the suit and everything.
Next time I see it, I was like,
Nice.
why'd you make him look that way?
I only
So-
bring him out when I'm serious.
Nice.
Oh.
So the Nintendo Life came out with an article regarding Nintendo. They kind of shed some light on why Switches have been extremely hard to come by, and you can pretty much might as well go ahead and get gold because Nintendo sold 4.2 million Switches in the month of March, which is 20% of their annual sales.
Could that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, everybody had
I mean,
to go inside,
everybody's
so they were like, "What do we do?"
Which is our
Animal
whole
Crossing all
thing.
day.
Animal
Crossing came
yeah.
out.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The little Resident Evil 4 pulls up to you on the street. What are you buying? What are you selling?
What are you buying?
Fucking coat full of switches and shit.
Switches and toilet paper.
And
Animal
toilet paper and
Crossing.
hand sanitizer and wipes.
Right?
Yeah.
And wipes.
Yeah, you gotta get the wipes.
But that's insane, though, when you think about it. 4.2 million, and that's 20% of what they were thinking about for the entire year,
Yeah, that's
including the holidays. It's insane.
That makes sense. My roommate and I think for a week and a half or close to 2 weeks, visited like I don't know how many targets to try and get a physical Animal Crossing because we just couldn't. Everything was sold out.
See?
Shit.
And
Video
the Switch.
game companies are exploiting this fucking virus.
Oh,
PlayStation,
yeah.
I feel like, has had a sale every single week since COVID.
Well, that's the
started.
thing.
Still
Cam.
having
See,
sale.
okay, Cam, let's be real. You have
boy.
now discovered Wario 64 and Cheap Ass Gamer, and they do have different sales every single week.
Yeah,
You're just not
There's
seeing it.
always a
it's
sale. I'm
actually
like,
nuts.
damn.
It's actually quite nuts.
And right now it's good. I'm about to get Star Wars. 'cause that shit's
Bro, I
$30.
have literally never spent so much money in such a small amount of time.
Consecutively.
I don't want to talk about spending money
Consecutively.
right
There
now.
we go. Fuck.
I really don't want to talk about spending money.
Consecutively,
In
is that what you're
flesh,
saying?
in flesh session.
In flesh session.
I'll jump on my own sword here. I made
Lord.
a little boo-boo as well. I fell to the sales, and I also my curiosity got the best of me. So I bought the Saints Row remastered.
Why?
Because
Thank you for that reaction.
Trailer,
Because that's
they
exactly
sold
what our
it well,
reaction
it
was. Why?
hilarious, and then like
Yeah.
it's a fun game. It has a nice soundtrack. All right.
still you bastard, it's still dated.
He said, "You bastard." It's still-
Hey, GameStop has got real desperate during shelter in place. GameStop is like, buy 2, get 2 free. No, that's not good enough. Buy 1, get 1 free. That's not good enough. Buy 1, get 3 free. I'm like, damn.
Come, just be like,
GameStop has
just
been
take
going
shit.
in, bruh. Just take it, please, for real. Just take it. All of it.
Bro,
us some money.
Yeah, they've gone on so many.
They're gonna
sales.
turn into that dude in front of the mall who's like, "Yo, I'm just taking donations for my CD. Anything you
Yeah, fast. Yeah.
Or Justin, remember the guy that tried to sell us a religious book in front of Anime Expo, and it's like it's free, but any donations are appreciated.
Yeah, that's, bro.
So we don't have to pay. No,
Side-
it's free, but any
side note.
donations. Are...
Hey, no,
hilarious.
and he kept saying that. We're like, wait, so we don't have to pay anything? He's like, it's free, but any donation.
And in the end, it didn't even end up being the book that he said it was, right?
It was something totally different.
He
Yeah.
showed us the Bhagavad Gita, and he was Buddhist. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
This doesn't add up.
But
Does
please
not
tell
add
me,
up.
did they ask for it back? Because I have a story about it.
No.
Are you talking about
no, they
Comic-Con
didn't
right
say
now?
that,
Took
no.
that
Yes.
shit.
Comic-Con with his
I
CDs.
would be hella pissed.
I need to hear this.
Theo and I were at Comic-Con just for a day. Like, this is the first time we get to go to Comic-Con. And this one dude was like, "Hey man, like, I love comic books. Like, I'm surrounded by artists, and I'm an artist. I'm a rap artist. I'm trying to get my album out there. Would you like to listen to my CD?" I'm like, "Sure, dude," because like, he's not the only one like giving free crap out in like Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Oh, sweet, dude. Yeah. And any donations, appreciated." I'm like, "Well, no, but I'll listen to the CD. Like, I'm, if anything, I'll promote you. Like, whatever." And like, I'm about to turn, and he like turns back, takes his CD back.
Well, not even. He's just like, dude, bro,
I only got so many, man. Like, I can't.
I'm like, all right, bro. Like that's
Hustle's real.
Hey,
So-
hey, the hustle is real, man.
I want to get your guys' opinion on the last little bit of news actually be PS5 is that Sony came out and said that they are not going to follow Microsoft's plans, which is for the first 2 years of Series X to basically have the games Series X and Xbox One. They're going to go, if it's supposed to be for PS5, it's going to be PS5, and it's not going to be back compatible to PS4. How do you guys feel about that?
I actually don't really care.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool that Xbox did it. I thought it was cool that Xbox did it, but it wasn't like, wow, like that's amazing. I'm
From a
just like,
marketing
"Oh, that's
perspective,
cool."
it makes more sense to have exclusive stuff to sell your system. Like it's great.
Thank you, Darren.
It's great. It's great for Microsoft, and they're for the people, and I get it, and I love it, and it's a great thing that they're doing.
But it sucks for the
But
Yeah.
but what is the point? Like, there's
They
going to be
need
people like us who
exclusives.
is like, I'm going to
A
get the
bad
new
track
stuff.
record with this shit.
Yeah,
Right,
like there's
but
people
yeah,
like us who
motivation.
will definitely get the new stuff because I want the best. But if for normal consumers, it's like, okay, so you're saying I don't have to spend money for
Exactly.
That was-
oh my god.
That was Jason's argument last
Oh
week.
my god.
Yeah.
Darren.
Why would I spend
agree with you.
X amount of hundreds
Yeah.
of dollars when I
like I was saying
now?
I was
just buy
saying
it
that
once.
this is kind of a dice roll for Microsoft,
Yeah.
but I still have to lean towards Sony because no matter what, gamers like the incentive of exclusives. So,
It's not even a
but
dice
on top of that, the rumors of PS5 being backwards compatible, they still get to keep their old games.
Mhm.
That's why I feel like Sony's still like in the running, but they gotta reveal something soon.
Yeah,
Dude,
it
seen
has to
seen
be
on.
big, though,
Did you see on that
too.
Turkish? It's like the Turkish Amazon or some shit like that. That a listing went up for the PS5 that listed that it will be able to play some PS4, PS3, and PS2 games.
I don't believe
and
that
then-
shit
and then-
until
and then-
whatever this
and
event
then-
is.
and then
they
they
Until-
tweet it flat out.
They quickly took it down, but I guess
like a
it's like a
lie.
reputable.
Sounds
It's like a
bro.
reputable
Sony.
website.
Hey.
Reputable website.
Yo,
Hold on.
Sony wins if they go all the way back to PS2.
I don't
I
think
swear
so,
to God,
so.
they
No.
win if they
Yeah,
go all the
for
way
real.
back to PS2.
I'm like, take my money. I'll pre-order 2.
yeah, facts. Like they win if they
It's
go all the
too
way back to
powerful,
PS2.
though. That's the thing. Game Pass is far too powerful. Where Xbox is still winning for a good,
I
like
think
they're going to be even for a long time. Like if PlayStation does have backwards compatible all the way up, fucking awesome. But also they don't have a Game Pass where you can spend X amount of dollars and like
Yeah.
That's fair.
The PlayStation Now subscription really
Actually,
is it's okay, but it's
PlayStation-
not that great.
PlayStation Now has actually been growing, oddly enough.
it
Like the
has
library?
to.
As
Yeah,
far
has
as
to,
the,
because
the,
it's still
the membership
kind
and
of
everything.
doo-doo.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
better.
It is. I
But
beta
it's
tested
still
it.
doo-doo. Same here.
I actually got
and
to be
I
able to beta
hated
test it. I hated it. It was terrible.
But
But
It was trash.
honestly, I like the fact, like to everyone's point, is it's going to have its own exclusive games. That's
Yeah.
what it needs to have to sell systems.
Yeah.
And I get it. Microsoft needs to kind of do what they're doing because they screwed up the Xbox One generation from the get-go. And Phil Spencer had to come back and kind of bring it back to where
Thank
it
you,
should have
Phil.
been when it
You
launched.
Glorious
all the
man, you.
band-aids.
Thank you. Fuck. My God, you made it so much better. It's so good now.
Facts.
I mean, the first thing he did was get rid of the Kinect.
Yeah. Thank God. I hated that damn thing.
I still have mine. It's not.
Okay, Matt,
Ed
did you
useless.
have to buy the Connect with the, like
It
you
came-
had to,
Oh,
right? There was
Came
no-
with
There was-
the
there was-
Connect
yeah,
when they
it came
first
with the
launched. You
Connect.
had to do it.
Yeah.
It took like
Yeah, you had
maybe
to.
6 months to a year before they were like, yeah, you don't have to get the
Yeah,
Connect
which allowed them to
Well,
bump
it's
up the
because
price too.
that's because Matrick got himself fired because of how the backlash was. Because Sony came out and Mike dropped them and said, "Hey, this is how you share a game." And it was Shuhei and Adam Boyce going here.
Yeah.
Thanks. Done. It was just like,
Done. You could have told me that the
Wow.
PlayStation was a brick, and that's all everyone would remember is how you trade a game.
see, but that's the thing. That's what Microsoft told us what it was if you didn't have internet. A brick.
Facts.
Oh,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Facts.
Yeah,
That's
true,
right.
huh?
That's
It was
right.
such a
They
fucking
did
horrible
say
launch.
that. They
What
did
up,
say
360?
that.
The whole reason I went with
What up,
360 at the launch
Oh,
of that, not
please don't
360,
say
I say
that
360.
name to me.
The Xbox
But
One.
the whole reason I went with the Xbox One at the launch, and I told Darren this, was because I remembered the 360 console life, right? And I remember how 360 was starting off to the 360 we had at the end of its console life, and how much.
So, Red Ring of Death,
had
Red Ring
grown.
of Death, Red Ring of Death.
So I had I was one of the original Red Ringers, and then after I had that issue fixed or whatever, replaced, I hung on to my broken system long enough for them to replace it for free. Yeah, I mean, I am.
It's like a,
I
it's like a
am.
Purple Heart
Did
at
you
this
cry in front of your brand new Xbox? Because I cried in front of my brand new
I
Xbox.
still don't have an Xbox.
You
know
still don't have an
this.
Xbox. Yeah.
That shit was heartbreaking. But like, I seen how much they'd grown as far as like servicing their players with the expansion of the party system, the way they revamped their friend system over time, to even the user interface. Like, they heard their fans and saying, hey, the Blades was cool like the first 3 months, but this user interface kind of is not working with me. So I was all like, okay, if the Xbox One sucks, they'll probably make it better. And honestly, I was right. It just took too long.
Yeah.
But I need
Ones,
Sony to listen to us more.
Yeah.
Because
Sony has gotten too cocky.
They're way too cocky.
They're way too cocky right now. Like, Microsoft has to play catch up, and they were giving right messages. Sony's over here, big dick energy, and
Because
holding out far
Quotes.
too much.
Quotes.
But to be
Attitude.
fair to Xbox One, I feel its launch lineup was way better than PlayStation. PlayStation had Killzone and Knack.
I was going to say can't knock Knack.
Oh, yeah.
Killzone and Knack. While
Nah.
Xbox had Killer Instinct and Forza.
Yeah, it's way
Hold on, but
way
Go
better.
Forza. I remember we were having
KI's dope.
we were
I can't
having a
lie. KI's
conversation,
dope.
me and Darren
it
one year
ain't, but it
about
is not the
E3.
original though.
It's
It
not
is
the
not the
original.
original KI.
It's still
No.
dope.
Doesn't
It's still
count.
dope. Yeah.
I watched them
Killzone's
play that
still
shit
amazing.
at fucking
Or
Killzone,
Killer
at
Instinct.
Fanime. That
Killer
shit
Instinct
looks
is fun.
dope.
Yeah, it's
So,
bro, and
Theo?
it hits hard.
It hits hard, huh? Yeah, I was like,
it's
ooh.
hard.
Theo got to
Bro, especially if you-
experience. Theo got to experience me and Orchid at E3.
at E3, yeah.
I'm
So
a
we go
severe
over
pro player.
because I
Yeah, I
saw
went
that
to
they
E3
had.
that year.
So we had, they had those KI shirts that they were giving out, and I was like, I gotta get one because I go back to. Have you not seen the KI shirt, Darren?
I didn't get one. I was there, dude.
I didn't get one of those. They got
Yeah, sure.
So they were giving them out to the winners of the individual matches and stuff.
Oh,
Not
that
just
And-
winners. I got one too. What are you talking about?
Did you get one?
Yeah.
So okay,
Just had to
so
play it.
we get there and Theo
Back
just
when
picks
E3
Rip-
was good.
That's right. Theo goes with Rip Tour. I'm like, okay, these are new controls. Let's see what happens, right? I mean, he's got me down. He's got me on the ropes first round. I'm down to like a quarter life. And then
Let me
all of a
preface,
sudden,
I am a button smasher.
he is
I
a
got
button
no
smasher.
skill in a fighting game at all.
That's
And
not
then
the
I'm
game
prefacing
you know,
this.
Button
Yeah,
Mash,
And then
you
all
will
of a
get destroyed if
sudden,
you button mash
all
that
of
game.
those old combos from KI1 started coming back. And
Yeah.
he got buried.
They still work.
They still work.
I mean, 44 hit Ultra Combo with Orchid is just. I love it.
Shit.
Ultra,
Yeah,
ultra.
And, dude,
Yeah, I
and
went with the
that's
juggler.
what you shoot for. That's what you want so bad is that ultra. That ultra, ooh,
Yeah.
it feels so good.
Yeah, it is.
I was
those
thinking
double
about
to triple ultras.
earlier when we were talking about crushing the dreams of children.
Way to bring that back like that.
For real.
That was straight
When
to
we
the
went
heart
to
right
Afro
there.
Comic Con, I forgot what you guys were doing, but I was waiting for you somewhere. And I was there watching the kids play Smash Brothers. I was just
Oh, I heard those
right?
kids.
Yeah,
And
they some assholes.
I didn't really want to play. And then one kid was all like, hey, you want to play? He just handed me the controller. And I'm like, all right. And there's this other kid over there who's just been dominating the whole time. And, he had his little chubby chin up in the air. He's like, yeah. Is that who you're going to play with? You play with Roy? And I'm like, yeah, I play with Roy. After I basically 3-stocked everybody, I put the controller down and this kid's like, no, pick it back up. Pick it back up. I'm like,
Oh, he did not like
He
that.
wanted the run back.
He wanted all the
He wanted the
smoke.
run back.
He wanted the smoke.
I
I
just
think
gave
I
him
came
my,
by afterwards because I did the exact same thing.
No, I gave him.
I got my win. I went.
podcast card.
No,
Oh
Nah.
no.
dude, I had came over to check on them after I finished playing fighters, and like I just see everyone has their controllers down except for fucking Darren and Deontay. I'm just like, ooh.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's because
They
me
let
and
us
him into
fight.
playing, so it was just me.
Yeah, it was just you two. Everyone else is dead. Like it was just them two playing. I was just like, is it just y'all
We're all
two?
the,
He
we're
was
all
like,
the kids
yeah,
in the back row, just like
dead
head down.
already.
Like,
Somebody
They
was
were
all like,
just
"It's
watching 'cause that's all they could
Vegeta."
Yeah, that's all they can do. It's Goku.
You're lucky.
Vegeta.
You're lucky it was Afro Comic Con because you could have called some names after that.
So
Loop it all back around. Why don't you, Cam?
oh my god.
all right.
Wait, our faces aren't recorded, are they?
I'm probably not putting the video up of this just because Cody's been jumping around on this the whole time. But
Don't worry, Justin. You're good.
I don't mind it.
Good.
Okay, because my expression.
It's
I'm just
okay.
like,
You
oh
cute,
my
Justin. You cute.
God.
I don't know. We may.
Cute.
I may go back and watch it, and we'll see. But so what it is, as we close things out, let's start with Cameron. Cameron, what have you been playing gaming wise lately?
I haven't been playing shit. Yeah,
Bro,
I
after
literally
7, he died.
I know.
After 7, I died, bro.
The last game I played was Final Fantasy VII Remake. The reason why I died is because I went overkill trying to beat it because I had a bet with Justin. And anyway, so after that,
Lost. Yeah, and lost.
He lost in
lost
the
the
0
bet.
hour because he decided to get drunk.
After that, I stopped playing. I've dabbled in Persona 5 a little bit since then, but not like
Nice. Yeah.
not a lot.
It's
Not
a
a lot,
long
but
game.
I've been on it a
It's
little bit.
long.
It's
a very
extremely
long
long,
game.
yeah. So
Justin,
I've done like an hour here, an hour there. You know, haven't really done much in those hours.
Yeah.
I've gone and fucking went on dates and shit, and
had a life.
Yeah.
Living
We're
that
talking
COVID
about in
life.
Persona.
in the coffee
The
shop.
life you can't have.
Right.
Right?
Living the COVID life in
girlfriend.
Persona.
Yeah, living the COVID life in Persona.
All right, Justin, what have you been playing?
So the guys have been. I asked them about Assassin's Creed because after 3, I just after Black Flag, I stopped playing.
Yep.
Yeah, that episode.
Yeah, so after Black Flag, I pretty much just stopped playing because the story ended and
Pretty
it
much, yeah.
died, and everything else after that was just
Okay.
crap. But you know, with Valhalla coming out, and it looks good.
Dude, that shirt is sweet.
Does it?
Dude.
Have you
Oh,
seen
I
this
can't
shirt?
I think it
He
looks
said,
good.
does it?
I think
about how it looks up. Does it?
um,
We didn't see anything.
It's
What
yeah,
gameplay?
it's got the axes with a hammer in the middle, with the A
Yeah,
over
that's-
top of it,
yeah, it's
and
just
the
dope.
A is like wound like
Oh,
their
yeah.
traditional handles are,
Yeah.
making the A. It's
Yeah.
pretty.
I always like to suggest this, but after Black Flag, I was the same way. I did Syndicate and Unity, and I just totally lost interest.
Because Unity
But-
was hot garbage.
Yes, totally agree. But it wasn't until Origins where I kind of got that like feeling back,
hmm
where it was like almost playing Brotherhood again.
Yeah. Well,
But it
right
was
now
a
I'm
lot of
playing.
Justin Odyssey.
So
or
right now
Origins?
I'm playing Odyssey,
How is
and
it?
I'm actually having a good time. But
Is it really?
Yeah, I'm actually enjoying it, but that's because like I'm actually a big fan of.
You picked Alexander, right?
Mythology, yeah. No, you know who I picked. Don't play me.
I was just like, if you say Alexio, you can backhand it next time I see you, man.
No.
You already know who the real pro tag is.
Yeah, you know who I picked.
All right.
But yeah, so, but right now I'm having a lot of fun with it. Although it reminds me a lot of The Witcher. Like it reminds me a lot.
I kind of got that vibe because it was so vast, and like a lot of the gameplay and the combat
Yeah,
looked a lot like
yeah.
Witcher, and
Yeah,
it was
and
kind of
even
losing that.
even the achievement, the achievement notification sound
Yeah.
has very Witcher-esque vibes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like when you get an achievement or get a level, it goes like oh something like that. You know, like and how you know how the Witcher, you know how you did in the Witcher, you got an achievement and did that.
Oh yeah.
And then like oh, so Yeah, it reminded me a lot of The Witcher. But that's not bad. That's not bad. I love The Witcher. I think Witcher 3 is an excellent game.
Let's just say you had no business starting that game. You have so many games that you've like started
did.
and put down just to start
Bro,
another
I
one.
saw The Witcher on Netflix, and it imbued that fire in me.
Like
It
I
imbued
said,
that fire in
listen,
me.
We said as well. Darren gave you shit for
to
that
say
and was
I
like,
I
"You're
will
only
say
doing
it then,
it
and
for
I'll
that
say it
reason."
now. You are all sheep if you play The Witcher after watching it. You're all
Bro,
sheeple.
Destiny, man.
Bro,
Destiny.
it imbued me to want to say fuck all the time. That's it.
Yeah.
I wanted to go around on my horse and say fuck all the time. It was just
Oh,
So,
then also, you should also play Red Dead Redemption 2.
Get
I-
off
I
Red Dead
did- I did
Redemption,
hear
Jerry. Get off Red Dead Redemption.
Yo, we gotta start the
Oh,
posse,
remake
man.
was
We
the
gotta start
first
the
one.
posse.
One of the
Game,
greatest
though,
games.
I'm right there with you, Jerry.
I want to play the
one of the
first
greatest
one.
games
Is there
I
a
heard it
remake
was good.
coming? I want
I
the
was-
first one.
Huh?
How
First
can I
one
play
is
the
meant-
first one?
don't
There's
need to.
rumors.
There are rumors that they're remaking the first one.
Oh,
Good, because I need to play.
I was good cowboy all the way through, and I cried at the end. I did.
So,
First
Downset, what have you been
playthrough,
playing?
Same thing. It was, dude. It was a pure
On the Red Dead
Western
conversation.
story.
Deontay's like with myself.
I know, right? Dude, we're gonna
Cowboys.
lose Jerry.
Loved it.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's why we're just like,
We're
yo.
gonna stop. Just,
We got the posse.
Good game. All right, so
next
lately,
to God of War and Uncharted 4, like those were my games this past year. Like I could not stop playing.
lately
So-
I've only been playing. I've been playing Fantasy Star Online too, Justin.
Oh,
a little bit.
yeah.
I hate
How is
you.
that? Like I was thinking
hate
about
you.
getting that.
That game is so
Very
fun.
jealous.
Getting this.
I played
PSO
Fantasy
2.
Star Universe so much.
That game was
I did play Fantasy Star Universe, and I was talking to Justin about that, and I was like, "Yo, Fantasy Star Universe was almost a good game, dude. Like,
I enjoyed the hell out of it.
that was so almost a good game. I remember having so much fun with it, but I remember at a certain point never wanting to go back. And then playing this, I feel like the faults in that game were erased here. You know what I mean? So
It's coming
combat
to PS4 soon too.
is
It's
it
crazy how this
Yeah,
is an
that's what I
8-year-old
read.
game.
It's an
combat
exclusive for
feels
Microsoft
so
for a little bit. And
Yeah,
then,
just for a little bit.
Yeah.
combat
See
is
how much
so
money? See how much money you're making off an exclusive game, Microsoft?
Remember Scalebound?
I didn't learn that it was going to come out
Wait,
on
what
PS4.
different- that's
I
not the
might have got the
Microsoft-
Xbox just for that.
That's not the Microsoft philosophy, man. That's only exclusive because they work to get it over here.
Yeah.
You're right. Their
Yeah.
philosophy are
Tony
Halo
will,
and Gears
or
of War.
Tony, Sony will pay a little extra just to make sure Microsoft doesn't have it.
So, Darren, what have you been playing?
Not a damn
Nothing.
thing besides
Very
work and
little.
editing. But
I wish
Yeah.
you would play Streets of Rage 4 with me.
man, I need to get that game. But the last thing I did play was I started Valhalla.
Oh, you did start it.
I did start it. Oh, I was playing that for a good 2-3 hours because after we
Oh.
recorded, I was just like I edited for a little bit and then I was just kind of.
How was it? How was it? How was it?
Oh, it's
Oh.
great. So literally,
What do you mean?
Valhalla, it's like VA11
Yeah.
and like
Mm.
118.
It's not Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
No,
it's
it's
just
not.
'Cause that was
pretty
like-
much it is the action bartending game
Yeah.
yeah.
where you're in a bar and you're like all it is people come in, you have conversations, you make them their drinks, and the music is amazing.
Yeah.
So like it was just like when I
Okay.
started it, it was the perfect game I needed as far as my mood, where it's just like I could just kind of not think about anything. I'm just kind of just clicking through. Music's great, it's chill, and I'm like, this is great. I need to pick it back up, but it's fun. I'm enjoying it.
What's it on?
I'm playing it on Steam right now.
Check this out.
Yeah.
Oh,
I guess
it's
there's a
VA11
secondary.
VA11 Hall dash A. VA-11 Hall.
Don't get Jason
Yeah,
started on
yeah,
Steam.
No, I see it.
And Epic
Hey,
and all that.
get on it, and I guess there's a sequel coming out this year too. So I'm just like, oh, even more incentive to go through it. So
All right, Jason,
Thing, yeah.
what have you been playing?
Still on the. Actually, I was about to start a few games, but right now, my buddies have been jumping back on Dungeon Defenders 2. It's a
Oh wow.
free game on Steam. It's
Dungeon Defender. I've never heard of it.
I also went back into trying playing classic StarCraft again, but
Oh, no way.
I am getting my butt whooped, so I'm gonna stop that race. And then, as usual, Final Fantasy 14, baby.
You mean the same
Hey,
reason Jerry
God,
doesn't
we
play
need to jump back
Sekiro
to-
anymore?
Yeah, we need to get back on that.
Listen, do I need to preach the good word of Sekiro again? Do it.
No. So we still have the challenge going on. Jerry's kind of gotten off rails a little bit. So
I've gotten way off the rails.
What do you mean off the rails? He's off the planet.
I went off the planet, man. Dude,
actually,
I've been
I
in
might,
Steelport. I beat Saints Row. Like, that's how bored I've been.
And how much he doesn't want to play Sekiro.
At least I got my $40 worth, but not really. But
$40 though.
yeah,
That's too damn much for Saints Row.
Too much, man.
Yeah, I
That
know.
game
that's
should have
a
been $30 tops.
Yeah. All right. Theo, what have you been playing?
I actually dusted off the PS4 and restarted Last of Us and Horizon Zero Dawn.
Nice.
Yes.
Why?
Oh,
They
gotta
give
get
it
ready.
to you
Get ready.
again
What
on
is it, like next
PS5.
week?
Yeah, I wanted to do that too. I want to cop the remaster.
I need somebody to talk to about Horizon. It's amazing.
It is.
Darren?
You got Matt here.
Yeah,
Who's
Matt.
beat it like 5 times already.
Once,
I'm
only
like-
once. And I
I'm
still
going-
need to do the DLC, but it's great.
I'm a few chapters
going
away,
through
but I need to
ultra hard.
finish it.
I'm going through ultra
You're
hard
a
on
crazy person.
Horizon.
Jeez.
I'll do Sekiro. I'll do From Software games, but you're a crazy person. Man.
And once I'm done
You're a
with
crazy person.
once I'm done with ultra hard, I will have the full 100% trophy list. That's all I need is ultra hard new game plus
Jeez.
on Horizon.
Platinum.
Dude.
I already platinum that
That's
thing.
all I need.
That's all I know.
That's it.
Dude,
That's
it
it.
is hard. It is hard.
No big.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
MVP.
It's like
mean,
it's like Kingdom Hearts 2 on.
I platinum that. I finished. I beat it.
You finished your
Platinum, man?
He did.
I did.
Did you-
get that.
I didn't-
platinum.
Did you even start a KH3 critical run?
Fuck no.
Oh, I did not. I did not.
Yep.
Like I was one of those passive players. I do it for the story, and I love the game. But after a few friends told me like what it was like to play on critical, no, I didn't even.
Oh,
It's crazy.
The
So,
thing is, me
Jerry?
and Justin were crazy enough to like start a platinum run before 3 came out. We tried. We tried. We ended up beating everything, but like it got hit like end of December, early January before the game came out, and we saw what we still needed to do for finishing up Kingdom Hearts 2,
Oh,
Birth by Sleep, and Dream Drop Distance. We're like, we can't do this.
Yeah, we
like
could.
we're like Birth by Sleep
We
takes
tried,
120
though.
hours to platinum.
We
Oh,
tried.
Nah.
So
We
Jerry,
got two.
besides
We got 2
Saints
out of
Row,
3. Ugh.
Jerry, besides Saints Row, what have you been playing?
a little bit of Modern Warfare, but yeah, after Saints Row, I need to get back to like serious stuff to finish. So I'm back on Final Fantasy.
About to ask, has everybody here beaten Final Fantasy 7?
Oh,
Not yet.
Jerry.
how?
I know.
How?
Overly
2
distracted.
words.
Overly
Saints
distracted.
Row.
Saints Row, yeah.
Hey, wait.
I'm not sure why
out.
Saints Row
Wait,
trumps
just
Final
came
Fantasy
out.
VII Remake, though. Saints Row should not be trumping that.
Thank you.
I don't even think it should be trumping Sekiro right now. But
No.
somehow Jerry makes it. I don't get it.
I'm gonna go play.
The fact that you put Saints Row and Final Fantasy VII Remake in the same sentence about games that you should have played, like I'm just like
Did you
Yeah,
at least
no,
play it
I've been
co-op
waiting
with a
for
friend?
Deep games.
I even dusted off Wildlands just because it was an open world. Ghost Recon Wildlands.
This is the thing that I get with Jerry, that his likes and dislikes that we agree with is a roller coaster.
So he's your
It's like,
Justin.
you get Saints
pretty much.
Row,
He's your Justin.
and then you get Red Dead
He's
Redemption
your
2.
Justin.
And then
I'm
you got
eclectic.
Sekiro, and it's
I'm
just up and
eclectic.
down,
I like
man.
I
Up
like
and
a
down.
little bit of everything, dude. I fell in love with Disney Infinity, and you're talking to a hardcore Disney Infinity fan.
Yeah.
I bought the hell out of
Oh,
those figures.
man.
Never played the game.
I'm not that bad.
Same.
Not
I'm
only
wearing the
joined-
pill.
Look, I'm not that bad.
right now.
I didn't put
Every
Saints Row above Final
but
Fantasy VII
every
Remake. I'm not that
character
bad.
of mine maxed out. Yeah.
Damn, you have a lot of time.
Go all in.
This is how serious we are in this house. Teach him young.
Teach them young. Exactly.
Good man.
Yeah.
Mario Kart.
Oh yeah.
That's my little brother downstairs.
Now because you need it.
So I actually
learn those life lessons so that way he can
right.
cry nice and early.
So I fired up Infamous this week.
Yeah, I saw that.
As in Infamous
I
Second
saw that.
Son.
Surprise, eh?
Second
I'm
son,
all-
okay.
I'm all right with that.
And I am almost 50% through the game already.
It's not long.
Pretty short
I
game.
definitely
Not,
played
yeah.
that game quickly back in the day.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
but,
but
I'm
that
going
game is
through like
fun.
it is
Also,
fun,
talk
and I
about a
think
franchise that
fun.
needs to come back.
Yes.
and I think the
Yeah.
reason I'm having so much fun is maybe because I'm having fun beating up an oppressive force, which is kind of what we're dealing with right now.
I can see, I can see
You
that.
doing the
You
good
know?
path or the bad path right now?
I went good. I'm
good, because that's the
going-
good. That is
I'm
the
going
good
Paragon.
playthrough. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
You had
You
one.
go the
You're
good
just a
path.
dick.
Whoa.
And
good.
then I fired up Hue again on my Vita and my PS4.
Oh, okay.
You never
Wait,
played
what?
Hue, Darren? Hue? H-U-E.
HUE.
Like
H-U-E.
Hue colors.
Oh no, I have it. I just
Oh,
I never
it's
played it though.
such a good game.
I
I played the crap out of it during E3 in our lines. Like I was
Yeah.
just one
I
random
remember that
purchase.
game
I was like, oh, this seems cool. Couldn't put it down. So good.
I know that was
I've
PlayStation Plus, so
I've
I know
beaten
I
it
have
on Switch, and now I'm going through on the Vita and PS4 because it's got cross save.
Yeah, but you started that a
So-
long time ago.
Yeah, well, I picked it back up. So, and then of course Animal Crossing.
I haven't
And then-
touched Animal Crossing in a minute. My town probably is on fire.
Yeah, me too.
facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
And then I made the mistake of trying to distract Cody a little bit, and I was like, hey, let's see what Disney Infinity, because we had, we did the same thing. We bought the figures and really played the game. Dude, he's been enjoying the crap out of the game. So we've been playing Infinity together.
Because it's great.
Nice.
So, yeah, we've been, outside of that, not a ton of gaming this week. Last week's been kind of hectic with work and whatnot. So, but anyways, fellas, we kind of went off rails a little bit longer than our normal hour.
Welcome to an episode of the Rusty Rapids
Yes.
podcast.
What is
So-
time?
That is facts.
And-
Yeah, that is actually
And
very.
to our listeners, I do want to, thank the Rupees for joining us and kind of talking through what's going on and stuff, especially for those listeners that are outside the U.S. You guys can get a take on what it's like to be, Black in America, and some of those tribulations and whatnot that they go through. So you guys, as always, I mean, Darren's knows about this, but you guys are welcome back anytime. Anytime you
Please,
guys
this
want to
was
come
awesome,
chill
guys.
during
Yeah.
the week. And
This was fun.
What,
Chill.
you're inviting us to
we can
Crash
actually-
Game Night?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Dude, open
we
invitation.
can get a 2-on-2 Monopoly. We can get the.
Let's
Either
do
that,
this.
or let's just start up like 8-player Mario Kart.
Ooh.
Oh man.
Jesus.
I
Start
still
out
need
with
to
some
get
Mario
Mario
Kart.
Kart again.
Yeah.
How do you not have Mario Kart?
I don't
Because
have it either.
I don't either.
I know why
mean-
you don't have Mario Kart. How do you not have Mario Kart?
we could talk a lot about Cam right now, but that's besides.
That's for another episode.
Eric came out on your
Hey,
podcast.
hey,
One
I
of our
don't know, man.
fans
He's
bought
been coming
Cameron
up.
Smash Brothers, and we have not seen Cameron play Smash Brothers.
She wanted to get him the season pass too, and I said no.
No.
I've played it. I just ain't been
Ouch.
online. You're just not seeing me play it.
we
Jerry.
bought him. Wait, when's the last time you picked up your Switch, dog?
Oh, that's what I've been playing. I've been playing Final Fantasy VII a little bit, the original. Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
Tyranny,
okay.
so
How far are you?
not far.
Damn
but
it.
I've been playing it like little bits.
Get out of
So-
Midgar, man.
Bro, he hasn't even finished the remake yet. Like, I mean, like in the span, he hasn't even passed
Yeah.
the remake.
Oh
yet.
yeah.
That's
So,
shameful.
but, to all our listeners out there, once again, thank you for crashing game night with us tonight and these fine fellas. If you like what you're, as always, make sure to leave those comments. Like we started up on anchor.fm. If you want to be part of the show, leave those voice messages because we do play those, even though we didn't have a message from Newman. So Theo and Jerry, you guys are getting off scot-free this week.
Ugh, thank God.
No Newman this week.
Okay.
But,
He'll make up for it. I know Newman.
he will make up
All right.
Oh yeah.
That's all right.
But yeah, so make sure to follow us on crashgamenight.com, on Twitter at CGM Podcast. I want to say, everybody, be excellent to each other and stay frosty.
Shout outs to Rusty Rupees, guys. Hey, thank you guys for coming out. I know I'm cutting Jerry off first, but it's all right. I just want to special shout out to you guys out there.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. And to all of our listeners, if you're going to go out and protest, please be safe. And if, regardless of who you are, no matter what, support. Just support. And thank you guys so much for being on here and sharing this with us. You guys are welcome anytime. This was awesome.
And also another thing, like I'm gonna do Matt's job as well. How do we get listen to your podcast? You know,
Yeah.
like what?
Darren.
Darren, I know. I was about to say Darren.
Darren's already promoted the crap out of it already.
He has.
Hey man, that's what I do. That's my job.
For all of our new listeners, you know.
Yeah.
If you guys want to find us, you can find us anywhere at Rusty Rupees or Rusty Rupees with 2 Y's on Twitter, because Twitter's some hoes.
Ho-ass.
And you can find us individually. You can find me at XX Shadow Kami anywhere, or XX Shadow Kami XX. Oh God, I'm getting thrown about. Anywhere. Justin.
You can follow me at Ron Ninja 23 anywhere.
Deontay.
You can follow me at 13 Cross. Spell it out. Don't be lazy.
And Cameron.
And you can follow me at Fly Richie anywhere. My name's not Richie. We have an episode on that. Check it out.
My name's not Richie.
So, alrighty, Theo.
But he is fly.
Send us out. Send us out like only you can.
Thanks, guys, for joining us tonight. TTFN. Ta-ta for now.
Night, everybody.
Dave.